Right now, U.S. forces searching for the missing second crew member of this F-15 fighter jet that was shot down over Iran. One crew member rescued and is now, we can report, safely in American custody. But the other crew member remains missing. We have these images from social media that show some of the search operations. The F-15 is the first jet shot down by Iran that we know of during the course of this war that President Trump started, that has been an air war. The New York Times is reporting a second combat plane crashed in the region that was earlier today, but that pilot was safely rescued. The A-10 Warthog attack plane went down near the Strait of Hormuz about the same time that an Air Force F-15E was shot down over Iran, the paper reports. The Warthog was hit by Iran, the Journal notes, according to people familiar. MS Now has not independently confirmed this. We can tell you, though, that Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth, as recently as 3 weeks ago, was asserting, as a matter of U.S. observation or intelligence, a claim that looks quite different tonight, that Iran's air forces and defenses, he said, had basically been destroyed.
Iran has no air defenses. Iran has no air force. Iran has no navy. Their missiles, their missile launchers and drones being destroyed or shot out of the sky.
Most Americans supporting anything that keeps our troops safe would like that to be true. That sounds like a positive. But as with so many other issues with the Trump administration in general, and certainly with the propaganda around this war, the question is that good thing true? And if not, was Mr. Hegseth saying something he knew to be untrue, another lie in war, or was he mistaken? And now we are seeing, very tragically perhaps, what happens when those claims don't add up, when Iran might be stronger than we were told over time. And the details of how the F-15 was shot down remain unclear tonight. CNN reports their U.S. intelligence assessments that indicate Iran has missile launching capacity and that it could be essentially significant. For example, they note that roughly half of Iran's missile launchers are still intact. Thousands of one-way attack drones remain in the arsenal. All this is happening days after Trump, of course, gave what was, by any historical account, the latest national address for explaining the start of a war ever. Now, it was pitched as a kind of a communications process that he wanted to reboot what has clearly been a flagging effort. Some would call it just incomplete or even lazy. We've never seen the United States start a new war and not have the president address the country before and at the day one of said war. Now, he asserted then that it would be about 2 to 3 weeks and we would be through this. Of course, saying that would seem to give a deadline to the enemy, something that the administration had previously said they didn't really want to do. And it also raises the questions about what are the terms on which the United States is willing to end a war that many Americans oppose, that they don't feel is strategically necessary, and yet, because of Trump's decision, has now changed the energy, economic, and strategic position of the United States in the region. The U.S. military is building up forces to at least threaten, credibly, or deliver a ground assault. Iran is getting ready, the Journal reports, with preparations that include drives to recruit millions of Iranians, including children, hardening defenses on Karg Island, boosting guided missile systems, and laying mines along the coastline, booby-trapping facilities. All of the things that Americans, whether you are a foreign policy and news junkie or someone who just sort of keeps an eye on this every couple years, these are all things that Americans remember from the long, involved, protracted presence of American troops in our past Middle East wars. The fact that we have a mighty military that is really the envy of the world is, again, according to U.S. national security, a good thing. But whether having a mighty military guarantees you short-term victory or geostrategic and political regime change in countries where the U.S. is an occupier and people are fighting for their lives, freedom, liberty, and way of life, we have learned the occupier's lesson repeatedly. Indeed, Donald Trump broke the vows he made in the 2024 campaign to not be an occupier and start so-called forever wars. Amnesty says Iran is recruiting children as young as 12. That would be a war crime. The White House now says the cost will top $1.5 trillion. That's a 40% hike. The news tonight at this hour on the search is that they are looking for the second crew member from the F-15 shot down over Iran. NBC reports U.S. helicopters involved in that search also already came under fire from Iranian forces, but they believe everyone on board is safe. So that is the emergency operation here, with everyone in America, of course, concerned about the wherewithal and the health, safety of these people fighting on our behalf under the Trump administration's orders. and the larger questions about where we stand in this war for U.S. objectives. That is how we begin our Friday evening news program, and I want to bring in General McCaffrey, retired four-star Army general and MS Now analyst, and Ambassador Ross, expert in Mideast affairs. He's worked in the Bush, Clinton, and Obama administrations. For both of our guests here, obviously, we are balancing the import of this emergency operation, and also, I'll start with you, General, where the United States stands on our strategic goals. Are we going in the right direction in your view? And anything you can tell us about this kind of search and rescue?
Well, it's an odd situation. The U.S. and IDF air power has achieved a devastatingly successful air campaign. 10,000 or plus targets. Essentially, we've lost a couple of aircraft enemy fire, a bunch more on the ground in Saudi Arabia or elsewhere. It's been an incredible performance. And to put in historical context, in Vietnam, we lost 3,700 aircraft to enemy action. We lost 4,000 some odd helicopters. So I think by and large, the air naval campaign has been successful. But again, you're flying a F-15E, 1,500 miles an hour, anti-aircraft fire from the ground, just heavy machine guns. 50 caliber machine guns, big sky, little bullet, can hit an aircraft and bring it down. So it's not without its perils. And the current search and air rescue attempt in Iran is extremely perilous. There's a very complex, very well-trained, expensive capability the Air Force maintains to go in and get down pilots. That's what's working now. But it involves putting AC-130s and air-to-air refueling of Black Hawk helicopters and these heroic Air Force pararescue people on the ground. So again, it's a war. These people are trying to kill our troops, and it's a lot of risk. The big risk, though, is strategic. The straits are closed. We're not going to be able to go in and get HEU fissile material out of Esfahan on the ground. That would be Khe Sanh in Vietnam, 5,000, 10,000 troops on the ground. We're not going to be able to capture Karg Island. It's 400 miles to sail the amphibious ships up the Persian Gulf under fire. So Mr. Trump didn't think through this. Strategically, he's in the box.